RT's headlines. Britain's Prime Minister warns the Trump administration to beware of Vladimir Putin as Theresa May prepares to be the first foreign leader to meet the new US president. A recent spike in left-wing violence takes shape around the globe, from Australia to Europe to America. We investigate the trend. And French National Front leader Marine Le Pen tells RT there won't be any American-style protests in her country if she's elected president in April. Hello, it's midday in Moscow. My name's Colin Bray. Welcome to the World News from RT International. First for you this hour, President Trump's first meeting with a foreign leader will take place later on Friday, when he hosts Britain's Prime Minister. Theresa May kicked off her US trip by addressing his fellow Republicans in Philadelphia. More from our Washington correspondent, gaya-Amerika.
It looks like the UK's Theresa May is cautiously trying to modify Donald Trump's position on some issues that they may disagree on. For instance, on the Russian president. You know, Trump said he was expecting to get along with the Russian president. Theresa May offered a note of caution, while also saying something that was more in line with Trump's view, which is that a new Cold War can be avoided. Here's how she put it.
With President Putin, my advice is to engage, but beware. There is nothing inevitable about conflict between Russia and the West, and nothing unavoidable about retreating to the days of the Cold War.
You know how Trump was previously skeptical about NATO and even called it obsolete? Well, in Philadelphia, Theresa May spoke about the importance of NATO and said that the U.S. must be the central element around which it is built. However, her remarks in Philadelphia expressed a desire to bring the U.S. and the U.K. closer together. Prime Minister May seemed to have drawn a parallel between Brexit and the election of Donald Trump. Here's what she said.
So as we rediscover our confidence together, as you renew your nation just as we renew ours, we have the opportunity, indeed the responsibility, to renew the special relationship for this new age. We have the opportunity to lead together again.
Theresa May has been under a lot of pressure at home for the special relationship she says she wants to forge with the Trump administration. Members of her opposition have urged May to press Trump on human rights concerns, specifically on his views regarding torture. Theresa May had previously condemned torture, but whether she would raise the issue with President Trump directly is unclear. Her remarks suggested that talks on a future trade deal between the U.S. and the U.K. would be a priority. In fact, she said she was delighted that the Trump administration had made a trade deal with the U.K. one of its earliest priorities. Many are wondering how this is going to turn out, considering Theresa May is a big believer in free trade and globalization, while Donald Trump is known to have a more America-first, protectionist view on trade. Despite what could be a clash of views on trade, some have noted similarities in the statements made by Donald Trump and Theresa May.
Men and women who love their country and want a better, brighter future.
They voted to shape a brighter future for our country.
We must protect our borders.
We will ensure we can control immigration to Britain from Europe.
The Trans-Pacific Partnership is another disaster. It's a rape of our country.
And I do not want us to be bound by the common external tariff that prevent us from striking our own comprehensive trade agreements with other countries.
Together, we will make America great again.
I want this United Kingdom to emerge from this period of change stronger, fairer, more united, and more outward-looking than ever before.
Well, it's not going down well in Europe. Several politicians there have expressed their scepticism over Britain negotiating a trade deal with the US. The French finance minister said May and Trump should not discuss it while Britain is still in the EU. Another official echoed that view, saying the Brexit process has to be completed first. We heard from former British European Parliament member Glyn Ford.
She can't actually make a deal officially until we've left. Of course, you can get very close to that point and be ready to sign. I think it depends on the deal. The issue will be the politics around it. The very fact of a deal, and particularly a bad deal, won't worry the European Union. A bad deal for Britain, What they will be worried about if alongside that trade agreement there are political, if you want, is political cooperation against the EU. And that's one of the dangers, because of course, as you well know, Donald Trump has been very critical of the EU.
Theresa May's decision to meet with only Republican Party members and not Democrats has come in for criticism. The British Embassy in Washington has reportedly received angry messages from members of the Democratic Party. Guy Taylor, who's a trade campaigner at Global Justice Now, thinks the Prime Minister's strategy might weaken the UK's position.
I think she's actually putting her interests first. By rushing into a deal, rushing into a cosy relationship with Donald Trump, means that she is the lesser partner in this relationship. And Donald Trump's made it very clear that he wants to put America first, he wants to buy America, and he wants to promote America above and beyond all else. So with us being the weaker partner in this, I think we're going to be coming off very much second best. The size of the economy difference, the almighty power of America doesn't mean that we can really call the shots on this one.
Theresa May told Republicans that with Trump in office, the UK and the US can reboot their so-called special relationship. But one thing that's unlikely to come up during her visit is the fact that her own party did not want Trump in the White House.
I happen to disagree with her about Donald Trump. I think his remarks are divisive, stupid and wrong. And I think if he came to visit our country, I think he'd unite us all against him.
I think Donald Trump is clearly out of his mind. He's betraying a quite stupefying ignorance that makes him, frankly, unfit to hold the office of president.
Well, Theresa May seems determined to put those differences behind her. Polly Boyker has more on the Prime Minister's charm offensive.
Donald Trump is said to remember criticism. Some even say he's thin-skinned. So what could possibly win him over? Well, according to Downing Street, one of these. Theresa May is going to arrive in Washington laden with gifts, and she's going to present the new US president with a traditional Scottish quaich. The silver bowl is an ancient artefact and a symbol of friendship in the Scottish Highlands. Centuries ago, you could have sipped your whiskey from it, but Donald Trump is teetotal, so it's more of a sign of kinship and a nod to his Scottish heritage, which he likes to talk about. And when it comes to the perfect gift for the new First Lady, this is what Downing Street came up with. In the UK and the US, it's known as a hamper. To the rest of the world, it's a basket filled with food. And the hamper that Theresa May is gifting Melania Trump contains edible gifts from Chequers, which is the Prime Minister's country residence. So the former swimsuit model will be able to tuck into some traditional British Bakewell tart, British biscuits and jams and marmalades. And when she's done, she can polish it all off with some homegrown Chequers apple juice. The gifts are intended to entice the Trumps back to the UK on a reciprocal state visit in the summer. But the question is whether the peace offering is enough to sweeten a relationship that started off on the wrong foot.